I have a question about this weekend. Why not stick around for the signing ceremony with this Iran peace deal?
I might.
You might?
Yeah, I might. But I'd rather, this is a memorandum of understanding. It's very important, but it might not be the kind of a document that I should be signing.
There's some element to this where you send the vice president. If it works out, great, you'll look like a genius for sending him. And if it doesn't work out, it's the vice president's
I like
fault.
that idea, sure. Well, this way, if it works out, I'm going to take the credit. If it doesn't work out, I'm blaming JD. You better be careful, JD. He's going to turn his plane around and get the hell out of here. Yeah, I like that idea. I think it's a good idea. Thank you very much.
That said, this MOU appears to be, just from the text, a disaster that does not achieve any of the actual signal goals that were set by the administration at the beginning. There were effectively 5 goals that were set by the administration at the beginning. One was ending the nuclear program, not just nuclear weapons, no nuclear enrichment, zero enrichment. That is not in the deal. Ballistic missiles ended. That is not in the deal. And the president today suggested that ballistic missiles should actually continue to be held by the Iranians because the Saudis, our allies, also hold ballistic missiles. Then you have the support of terrorism. That is not part of the deal. Anything that looks like an attempt to end terrorism. A permanent opening of the Strait of Hormuz toll-free. Not only is that not in the deal appears to have a provision allowing Iran and Oman to attempt to toll the strait after 60 days. And then finally, the idea that Iran would receive some sort of sanctions relief after all of those things happen. We are already seeing from day one relief in their ability to ship oil out of Iran. In my opinion, the vice president of the United States, the chief negotiator on this particular project, has not well served the president.
I've spoken with the White House about what's in the bill. I'm confident that there certainly are going to be zero taxpayer dollars that are going to go to the Iranians. And frankly, even the Iranians' own money not going to be made free and available to them until they perform specific, verifiable steps to move toward denuclearization.
So there are currently a lot of Republicans who are not happy with the deal that was signed with Iran, and that's the Memorandum of Understanding. And I think this whole situation is far from over, because this isn't necessarily a full peace treaty. Think of it more like a temporary agreement that allows for further negotiation. And I hope I'm not giving the Trump administration's strategy away, but I could see them using this to extend peace, get gas prices down, and get things looking more favorable for Republicans going into midterms. If I had to guess, and again, I'm not on the inside, this is literally just a guess. My guess would be that they're saying, we don't know if this is going to end in the time we want, but maybe we can get this thing to calm down a significant amount. That way it's not harming us at midterms. Then after we win, we could get more aggressive. I think that's a real possibility. It could not be, but I think it is a real possibility. So before getting worked up and really formulating a deep opinion, I want a little bit more time to kind of see how this plays out.
What's going on, everyone? Sauce Kenny here today. As you saw from the intro, it seems like there was a moratorium of understanding, and seems like there's a split opinion about it in the conservative kind of side of the aisle. You got the more people who are aligned with Israel, the people who have the view that Israel is our most, like our top ally. And then you got the people where I think I'm in, is that Israel is just one of many allies. And I don't think we should be overextending ourselves on their behalf as a partner, right? And I'm starting to see some fracturing going on. It seems like Donald Trump is criticizing Netanyahu more openly at the G7. And I want to kind of show some clips of that. But first, I want to kind of digest this peace deal, because in my estimation, you guys know, if you've been following this channel for a while, I was of the belief that it seemed like the pro-Israel conservative alliance kind of wanted regime change, right? And it seemed like, you saw from the intro, I don't think if you guys noticed, Marco Rubio didn't seem very happy, right? And people are reading into this, and it seemed like in the background, right, as you saw, Trump has clearly stated JD. JD seems to be the public advocate, because before, it seemed like Marco Rubio was kind of leading what was going on, right? He was talking about, hey, we're going to disarm them, no nuclear weapons, we're going to continue bombing them, we're going to continue giving them pressure. And then it feels different. I don't know what it is, but it feels like now it's JD. Like, JD's the one taking reins of what's going on here, right? And it seemed like Donald Trump listened to JD, then he listened to Marco Rubio. And I think this is why Marco Rubio looks a little disappointed or mad about what's going on. And I think that, midterms coming up, Americans been complaining about the economy. Inflation has been hot. Trump got the news that the Fed is pausing rate cuts. They have made that a definitive statement. They'll be pausing rate cuts. Trump didn't like to hear that news. I think there's a lot of factors going into Trump's decision and why I think JD Vance is starting to lead this discussion with the peace agreement heading into Friday, is because from a political sense, Americans do not see this as worth their time. As an American, I don't see this as worth my time to send the U.S. military to go down there and get the last 25% of the ballistic missiles, which Donald Trump has stated publicly that it's underground, and it'll be hard to extract that without putting boots on the ground. One of the offers I asked is that, hey, why doesn't the IDF do this then? Why doesn't the IDF just militarily go in, put boots on the ground in Iran, right? IDF should do that, and we should play support. And it seemed like there's a difference of philosophy, and it seems like you saw from the intro, more of the people who are aligned with Israel, they have seemed to have it out for JD Vance. They don't seem to like the deal. Every account I see of a Australian Israeli, an American Israeli, right? They do not like the deal. And a part of me thinks that these people the end goal for these people was they preferred that Iran be like done, like regime change. We destroyed them. We displaced the current regime out of power. And I don't think that it's worth it enough for Americans to suffer through the aftermath of that just to appease Israel. Oh, Israel's our top partner. No, Israel's one of many partners. And we can consider them, sure, but at the end of the day, like, we don't need to go above and beyond to appease them. That's my thoughts. Maybe someone will have a different conclusion, but I think the general sentiment of Americans is we want this war over. We want this peace deal, even if it's just a 60-day pause. So what? Like, people are complaining, oh, this doesn't change anything. We just go back to how it was 47 years ago. It took them 47 years to get to this point. If you're telling me, hey, Kenny, this deal, the best case scenario is it only give us another 47 years before Iran starts another nuclear program, I'll take it. I'll take it. But I don't think it's going to happen. Like, to me, I want to see this play out. I put out a tweet. My main thing is, hey, you may not like the deal, but everyone in the Middle East, because Trump allowed them to keep their ballistic missiles, everyone in the Middle East will be paying attention to Iran's every move. In my estimation, this is a good check on each other. Like, Israel's checking Iran. All the other Middle Eastern countries are looking at and paying attention to Iran. He pretty much made the entire Middle East against Iran and made it a surveillance network, essentially. That if Iran takes a toe out of step, their existence as a country is over. Trump is giving them Iran like this is rope. You know, you give people rope to hang themselves. This is the same kind of approach I believe that this peace deal is trying to achieve. And I think that a lot of the pro-Israel people don't like what's going on. But, you know, I want to put some of this clip out there because I think there's a fracturing that happened with this Middle East conflict.
Been blown away. And in all fairness to Bibi Netanyahu, who happens to be a good man, gets a little excited sometimes. But he happens to be a very good man. We've had an amazing partnership. He's been an amazing prime minister. We have a little dispute over Lebanon. I say, you can do a little softer touch, Bibi. You don't have to knock down a building every time somebody walks into it that's from Hezbollah agreement. But it's appropriate that we release the agreement. And we did send a copy to Israel, by the way. They've been a good partner. Again, I think they could do better with respect to Hezbollah. I'm not saying they shouldn't protect themselves. I'm saying when two drones are shot into the desert and drop harmlessly, you don't have to knock down buildings in Beirut. They could behave better. And frankly, they could do a better job. I love them as a partner. They were terrific. But they could do a much better job with Hezbollah. On that, I don't think they're doing well. And I feel very bad for Lebanon. Lebanon's been, you know, it was a great culture. They had the professors, the doctors, the lawyers. It was an incredible culture, maybe the highest in the Middle East for years and years, centuries. And for the last 50, 60 years, they have been just trashed. They have been living in hell.
I'm noticing that Mohammed Khalibaf, who will apparently on Friday be literally in a photo op with the Vice President of the United States. I cannot express to you how stomach-turning that is. I don't care who the Vice President is. I don't care who the President is. leaders of the United States of America in a photo op with a mass murdering terrorist supporter like Mohammed Khalibaf shaking hands 6 months after he blew away 42,000 innocent people in the streets, and weeks after his administration was firing missiles at literally all of our allies in the region and continues to support every terrorist group in the region and is currently continuing to control the strait. Like right now, it is not fully open for business unless the Iranians have, quote unquote, decided it is. The idea here is that somehow this administration and the deal that has been cut weakens Hezbollah. I'm not seeing it so much. I'm not seeing it. Maybe it's there. Again, we haven't seen the MOU for the 1,000th time. We haven't seen the MOU. That's not because of me. I would like to see the MOU. I think you would like to see the MOU. Hell, I think we'd all like to see the MOU. If Israel is not a party to the actual talks, which they are not, they have not been included in the talks. If Israel is not a signatory to the agreement, which they are not, how in the world could you tie Israel's hands when it comes to self-defense in Lebanon while Hezbollah is firing rockets and drones over the border at Israeli citizens? Shall we say that this is not a popular MOU, from what I understand, in Israel?
If I went out and continued to bomb them for another 4, just bomb the hell out of them, I'd get bad press on that. No, there's nothing I can do. But what this does is it allows the ships to go. If we keep bombing, those ships won't be going. And you're talking about $500, $600, $700 million a day. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. That's why the world is okay. It's liquid. It's fine. Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. You know, there are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see Bedlam? So for all those so-called geniuses that want to show me how smart they are, ask them why didn't they blow up General Soleimani? Ask that of the general and a couple of other people that I like very much, but boy, are they wrong. Go ahead.
Trump wants the Iran deal so he can move on and focus on the economy. And I believe that is true. I believe the 60-day pause is for Trump to get back on the economy, to get inflation in check, because Trump got a lot of bad news when it came to the economy. The Fed chair had to say, hey, look, we're holding back rate cuts. That was hurting the stock market for a little bit, right? These things have impacts to Americans' lives. And let me ask you guys a question, right? Because all these people, they're running on ideology, they're running on allegiances, the Jewish Republican allegiances. They have their own conflict of interest for why they want to push for regime change. They want to bomb Iran. They want Iran displaced. But at what cost? Do the average American want to hear boots on the ground? Americans going actively in there and saying we're going to destroy and hold Iran until they surrender? Like, this is what I'm talking about with these people. The war will last for years if we went with the current status quo that a lot of these people want us to do. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand the point here, right? You ask the average American, hey, we want to keep Israel safe. We want to keep the Middle East safe. We have to bomb the hell out of Iran for 3 years from now. 4 years from now, however long it'll take, Afghanistan, Iraq style involvement with Iran. That's the path we were looking to go towards. And we're all making guesses here. We all think, because end of the day, after the shellacking that Iran was getting, 85% of your military gone, 85% of your ballistic missiles capabilities gone, and you still wouldn't surrender. You really think that we're going to keep bombing them and they were going to cave and cave and cave? We've been waiting for them to cave for a while. And it seemed like this is the quickest they was able to cave. Like, these people, like, I've been taught all my life that Iran is so unreasonable, that there's no reasoning with these terrorists. So what do you mean we're almost about to win the war? To me, it sounds like Iran would never surrender and will have to essentially bomb them out of existence to do anything. That's the impression I get about Iran. So which is it? Either they're completely unreasonable demagogues that can't be reasoned with and that we can only blow them up into extinction. Just be upfront and say that. I'm thrilled that Trump said that if Iran doesn't stick to the deal, he will drop more bombs on them. So I don't understand. Like, if everyone knows this condition, why is there so much poo-pooing on this moratorium of an understanding? I don't get it. It's almost seemed like this has come across more as a pressure campaign than a legitimate criticism of Donald Trump and his actions. I'm just saying. Just stay calm. We all know you can't trust these Muslims, and they won't keep their word because their ideology teaches them to kill and commit jihad 24/7. These people breed to kill. Now, I don't, that's a generalization, right? But if you made the same generalization about black people, you'd be called a racist. If you made the same generalization about how Jewish people, you call that anti-Semitic. So I don't understand how you get away with saying this when you're part of a group of people that's so sensitive about generalizations about racial groups. I'm just saying. But, I digress. I want to play this here, right? Because I think this kind of wraps up my general thoughts here. Total speculation read on what's happening inside Trump world on the Iran deal. Hear me out. Rubio made the corrosion case. Keep pressure on, break leverage, impose terms. Vance made the off-ramp case. Stop the shooting, reopen Hamas, get gas prices down by 60 days. Right? Vance won the immediate argument, but Trump made him own it. That's why Vance is the public face of the deal, while Rubio remains the fallback if Iran plays games during the nuclear talks. I don't understand what's so bad about the strategy. Smart. This is Trump's idea. This is smart. Okay, here's JD Vance. You lead it. It works. I look good. It don't work. I blame you. And JD Vance was willing to put his name out there. He stuck his neck out and said, "Yeah, I'll take the blame if it goes wrong." I don't understand what's wrong. Trump gets his hedge. If 60-day window works, Trump takes the win. If it fails, Vance owns it. Rubio gets handed the wheel. The big problem here is that Iran gets the same 60 days, I guess, but that's a risk you're willing to take. And that's with anything. And then this is where I bring in the perspective of an average American, because like the average American don't care about no Iran. All Americans care about is, are we safe? Yes. Okay. Is Iran an immediate threat to us? No, but there are a big threat to our allies in the Middle East. Okay, but let's be real here. People don't really care that much. I'm just saying. Foreign policy. Everyone caring about, I'm suffering these gas prices. Inflation is starting to come out hot. It's still it's not hot as Joe Biden. Don't get me wrong. I rather this than what we was dealing with Joe Biden. But people are feeling discomfort here. And it makes no sense to lose political leverage and then have Democrats continuously obstruct what you're trying to do here. Like, I'm just saying, there's a lot of factors going into making this decision. It's just not black and white as, oh, look, J.D. Vance is trying to suck up to the Tucker Carlsons, Megyn Kellys of the world. No, but they're still part of this coalition. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, for me, this is why I say country over party. To me, the only way you're winning politics is if you have a big tent. And if you just start doing these purity tests, which I'm starting to see here on the right, you gonna cut your nose to spite your face, and it will get 2012 all over again. You give the Democrats a chance to win again. I don't understand this. But I digress. There are two ways to obtain regime change in Iran. One is over the long haul, which involves a lot of effort behind the scenes and some kinetic, much of which we just did. This military campaign potentially set the conditions for regime change over the long haul. The other way is regime change in the short term. That means a lot more kinetics with a lot more economic pain. This is what the Israel people, right? And I'm not saying this to disparage them or anything. I'm saying this as purely a difference of political approach and cost. And I'm talking about the trade-offs. As an American nationalist, as an American patriot, it is not worth the effort for us and the pain that my country and my people will face just to make Israel feel a lot more safer in the Middle East. You get our weapons already. You have our backing if anything happens. You can defend yourself, right, Israel? Iran allowed to keep their ballistic missiles. Anyway, Trump made the claim that, hey, it'll be hard to extract that because they buried those things underground. The rest of it's underground. So we'll have to put boots on the ground to actually extract those things or disarm those things. It'll be a more personal endeavor. Fine, leave it. Anyway, we can't just completely neuter our country and then pretend that they're going to take it laying down. I'm just saying. They have to get some win. If they keep their ballistic missiles, okay, so what? They lost 85% of their weapon capabilities. What are you so scared of? Israel, so you still got it. You still can defend yourself, right? But, if you're going to get mad at me, hey, look, it ain't affecting my country. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Right? Just like we tell Ukraine, you ain't got the cards. I'm saying the same thing with Israel. You ain't got the cards to make America go in and do regime change on your behalf. Now, if you want to do regime change, go ahead and do it. But as an American citizen, this ain't worth my time. Right? I think my president has spent enough attention in your region. I think my president needs to focus more on my region. He needs to focus more on his country. He's been doing a lot of foreign policy that's been getting a lot of attention, but inflation is still hot over here. He's mad over the fact that the Fed chair has to pause rate cuts. I don't think a lot of Americans want to hear that. Americans are complaining about cost of living. He's starting to lose young men such as myself in my age group. I'm noticing that. I'm just saying. But if you want Trump to waste his presidency to appease a foreign nation, that's your business. But last time I checked, he's the president of the United States of America. And that's where his focus should be, in their interest. Strategic parks benefits Americans more than it benefits Israel. Sorry, not sorry. And I'm taking my team every day, twice on Sunday. Sorry. That's the reality. Israel has a right to be mad. Israel has a right to be mad about this deal. Right? Israel have the right to be mad that there wasn't part of the negotiations. But end of the day, they're one of many allies. And just like we disappoint France, right? We disappoint Sweden when we deploy taxes against them, right? When the European Union wasn't helping us clear out the mine swift in the Strait of Hormuz, Trump was exercising leverage over them. I didn't hear anybody on the pro-Israel side crying, complaining about that. But all of a sudden, Trump does something not in the interest of Israel, and now I'm supposed to be over here second guessing my president and second guessing my vice president. Yeah, you can keep that, bro. That means a lot more dead Americans, a lot more expended ammo, and a lot more cost. It could involve ground troops. Who wants that? Let me know in the comment section if you want that as an American. Who here thinks that people of the United States are ready to do that? What it takes for a short-term regime change. I could go for it, but I don't think the American people would. If you're mad at the decision Trump made, you should tell what you would do. I have told you what I will do, but I don't think the American people would support that. I agree. Right? Only MAGA hawks or whatever you want to call yourselves nowadays will support this. But we'll see how it plays out. I mean, Trump has clearly stated that, hey, if you try anything, we'll bomb the ish out of you, right? And then this thing about the money. Why did $325 billion in damages to Iran infrastructure by dropping bombs? We did that much damage. We cost them $7 billion in revenue through our naval blockade. That's $332 billion in losses for Iran. I'm supposed to think that unfreezing $24 billion in assets is a net gain for Iran. You're still in the whole $308 billion. The $308 billion that could get down the line from the other coast nations is not guaranteed whatsoever. Would take decades to receive and is attached to strict conditions. It's likely a lie to say Iran is coming out ahead financially in this deal. The more I read the deal, the more I like it. So there's another opinion about that. And that's what I'm saying. If you tell me, right, if the best argument that people who are pro-Israel's our top ally is telling me that, oh, this is just restarting another 47 years of constant Iranian terror threat, I'll take it. I'll take it. We spread out the cost. I mean, we've been kicking down the can down the road about our national debt. You think I'm gonna have a different opinion of kicking this down the can? I'll take another 47 years. 47 years of fear mongering about Iran having a nuclear weapon when we can just disarm them at any time we want. We can just bomb the ish out of them, destroy their military completely, do the same pressure campaign. Like I don't understand why the outrage. Like what is the point of all this? Unless you have a conflict of interest. That's how I see it. I just see it as a conflict of interest. A lot of these pundits, they have a conflict of interest about the whole Israel stuff, right? They're either an emotional conflict, political conflict, financial conflict. But for me, it's about the USA. What should be the priority? Domestic or foreign? You already know my answer. Domestic. So I'm incentivized to go along with the strategic pause. Like I don't understand what the hubbub is about. Because people have other interests. People have other factors that they're not being upfront about. That's just my thoughts. I'll let you hear yours in the comment section below. I'd like to hear your thoughts and your perspective on this matter. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if you feel so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.